Hi, now this is going to be the first of a multi-part series I'm going to talk about overcoming procrastination so you can achieve the sort of success that you want. Now, procrastination is a bear for all of us. I'll tell you, I'm probably one of the worst procrastinators there ever was. All right, it's taken a lot of reading, a lot of classes, a lot of really trying to figuring out what my internal motivations were and the best way to organize myself for maximum productivity to achieve the success that I've achieved. So I'm going to share with you guys today just some of the things that I've learned, and they might help you. We're going to start off with 5. And these 5 in particular I got from Brian Tracy's book called Eat the Frog. If you guys haven't read that book, it's a really simple read, but he really just advises start off each day by eating the biggest, fattest, nastiest frog you've got, which of course is your biggest challenge for that day, because isn't that typically what we procrastinate on? We procrastinate on the thing that we think is just going to be the hardest and most pain in the ass to do, but he advises you to go and eat that frog first thing, because once you do that, the rest of the day is a breeze, right? Okay, so let's talk about these 5 things. The first thing, probably one of the most important, is to be crystal clear about exactly what it is you want to achieve, okay? Lack of clarity, fuzziness, really detracts from motivation. If you don't know exactly what it is you're going after, what are you motivated for, right? How are you going to work towards it, okay? So you definitely want to make sure you start off with exactly what it is that you want to achieve, all right? So you want to write this down. So first off, decide what it is you want. Next, you want to write it down. Then you want to set a deadline for when you want this to come to fruition, okay? Then you want to make a list of all the steps it's going to take for you to achieve that particular goal, all right, especially by that deadline. Now what you want to do is you want to organize that entire list, turn it into a plan. You've got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, and once I've done all these things in roughly this particular order, then I will achieve my goal. Once you've organized your list, do a plan, you take action immediately, all right? You don't plan to start in 4 weeks, right? You take a step towards that plan immediately, right? And then you resolve to do something to get you closer to that goal every single day. All right, so that's the first thing. Be clear about what you want, write it down, figure it out, and resolve to do something every single day. All right, next, start each day with a plan. All right, so you're already clear about what it is you want. Now, every single day you need to plan out what the steps you're going to take that day for how you're going to get there. And a good way, or an easy way to make a plan, is sort of to back into it. So let's say that your goal is something that's going to take a year. All right, let's just say, use that for arbitrary terms, okay? So it's going to take a year. Now, what you want to do is you want to figure out all the steps you're going to have to take during the course of the year, which you probably already did on your earlier list. Now break down what you're going to do over the next few months. So let's say the next month is May. What are you going to do for the month of May towards this goal? What are you going to do for the month of June towards this goal? What are you going to do for the month of July towards this goal? And what are you going to do for the rest of the current month for this goal? Then what you want to do is just take the next month and then break that down by weeks. Okay, so what do you need to do this week? What do you need to do next week, and so forth. Now, once you've just got this 1 week with a list of things you need to get taken care of, well, those are what you're going to want to break out on a daily plan during the course of the week. And be very conscious about what sort of time you think it's actually going to take to do each thing. All right? But make sure you start off each day with a plan, and that's a pretty easy way to arrive at a plan that will help you get towards that goal. Next thing, third thing, use the 80-20 rule with everything. Everybody's heard of Pareto's principle about the 80-20 rule. It sort of applies to a lot of things in the business world, you know, where 20% of the salespeople from the organization are responsible for 80% of the organization's sales. Or you can apply it to what you do. 20% of what you do, roughly, is going to affect 80% of your results. So what does that mean? That 80% of the stuff you do during the day, you could probably skip most of it. I mean, that's really what that says. And it's true. And if you sit down and you look at all the stuff you do during the course of the day, you probably realize that's true. So what you want to do is you want to look through all the activities you're doing on a daily basis. Figure out which activities are actually generating the most or making you the most productive towards your goal. And those are the ones you really want to focus on, okay? Not saying kick every single other one to the curb, But you do need to be judicious with your time. So typically if it doesn't fall in that 20%, you might want to put it off. That you can procrastinate on. All right? Procrastinate on things that aren't really very important, that's really just good prioritization, isn't it? Number 4, what will happen if? Think of the consequences. Always consider the consequences of every single action you take. And don't just consider the consequences of what's going to happen to me later that day, but consider the long-term consequences. Every action you take is going to have a short-term consequence, and there's also going to be a long-term consequence. All right? If you make a habit of following your plan every single day, the long-term consequence of that is you will achieve your goal. If you make a habit of finding little reasons why not to follow your plan every single day, the long-term consequence is you'll probably not achieve your goal, at least not in the time that you planned. Okay, and the 5th one we're going to talk about today is learning your ABCs. All right. Now, when I'm talking your ABCs, this is just another program of prioritization. All right, and so think about it this way: we've got A through E. A is your top priority task. A tasks are tasks that if you do not do, there are serious consequences if you do not get them done. So go through your list of tasks for each day and put an A next to each one that absolutely has to be done. There's going to be serious consequences. If you have multiple A's, rank them by going A-1 or A-2 or A-3 and so forth, so you know what has to be done. These are things you have to do, right? B tasks are tasks that are very, very important as well, but the consequences are mild. So, you know, for instance, like maybe you need to respond to some important emails or something like that. I mean, these are important, but these are definitely not as important as an A task. The general rule is if you still have A tasks left to be done, don't do a B task. All right? A C task is a task that just really isn't very important at all. You know, maybe phoning a friend back or answering the phone or checking your text messages or, you know, or having coffee with a friend at Starbucks, something like that. I mean, these are things you'd like to do, but the fact of the matter is if you don't do them, nothing's going to happen except that you just denied yourself that temporary pleasure of getting to do that. All right? So that's what a C task is. D tasks are tasks that you can delegate to someone else. All right? So if you have that ability, you've got some tasks that you just don't need to do, you can just delegate it to someone else. Delegate it. Get the A and B tasks taken care of. E tasks are tasks you just really don't have to do at all. They may be a task that you thought was important before, but right now they're just, you know, something else has changed, you just haven't taken it off your list. Or it could be something you just do out of habit, right? That now you realize, well, I'm just wasting time every single day doing the same stupid task, okay? That's what an E task is. All right, so just to recap, 5 things we can do to attack procrastination right now. Be very, very clear about what you want. Write it down. Make a list of what it takes to achieve it. Number 2, start each day with a plan. Number 3, use the 80-20 rule. Number 4, consider the consequences of every action you take. And number 5, learn and practice those ABCs. All right? Now, if you do these things, you'll be well on the road to becoming a much more productive person. And I look forward to seeing you in the next installment. Take care.